What the fuck?
Hello and welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. This is an episode that exists. Hello. Welcome. Like I already said. It's a little bit of an odd day, I feel. I wasn't necessarily confident in what I wanted to record for today, what to say, if I even was going to record, but I do have to, in the sense that I would like to stay on top of things. I don't have to do anything, but tomorrow I have my doctor's appointment, so I won't be able to record, and who knows, I really want to write this week. I really, really, really want to finish this screenplay. I don't think I'm close, but I'm not far either. I'm way past this just being an idea that I'm kicking around. This screenplay, it's probably going to be too long, and it's probably not going to follow a 3-act structure, but I'm writing it, and I can almost confidently say that I'm almost done. And that is really motivating, to the point where I almost want to drop the podcast temporarily just to put full focus into it. But I also can't force myself to do a bunch of stuff, because the second I force things, I get resistant and resentful, and it's just not the best way to experience things. So I'm doing an episode today that is basically unplanned. I mean, most of the things I do on here are unplanned. That's kind of like part of it, is that it's a podcast about me, and I get to talk about whatever the fuck I want in here, because there's no one here to stop me. Except for me, which I do stop myself sometimes, because that's just what I do, I guess. This is, one of the least organized, lowest effort podcasts in existence, and it's intentional that way. That the lack of editing, the fact that I have an introduction song is way more effort than I wanted to put into this. The fact that I'm still saying "Don't call me Ted" after 3 years of doing that is interesting. 4 years, actually. I'm pretty sure I did it 4 years ago. 2022, I believe I started doing it. I did it before then too, but that's when I cemented it with a YouTube channel, etc., etc. So, what the hell am I talking about? I don't know. I am a person that exists. I feel like I didn't do this early enough in my last episode. I am a person that exists. I have opinions, perspectives, etc. I have thoughts and feelings and experiences that are maybe not entirely unique to me, but the as a whole are unique to me. No one will ever have the same exact order of operations that I have, and have gotten to where I am, or sits in the backseat of their car with their feet up, gripping a Pringles can that's empty because I ate them this morning for breakfast instead of saving them for after work. This podcast, although on the surface is technically just a film podcast where I talk about the movies I watch, it's actually more about me and the things that I want to say, because I don't know, I don't say a lot of things. I had one conversation today, 2 if you count my partner coming up to me and asking if I wanted to eat the rest of their lunch. I didn't. But I have on average 3 conversations a day. I shouldn't say on average, at most about 3 conversations a day. That's not including things that happen outside of work. It's basically from me waking up to now, and I pretty consistently do that. Yesterday I didn't even have any conversations. I just went to work and then recorded a podcast. I genuinely don't think I spoke to anybody. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that's a thing that's happening. I've been picking my face again, which is pissing me the fuck off, because the whole reason I shaved is to stop doing it and to even it out, and now I'm back to doing it. And it hurts more because the hair is shorter and stronger. It's whatever. Not a fan of it. Not a fan. Still trying to figure out how to stop it. I forgot my spinner today, so I'm just kind of freeballing my fidgets. And the split in my cuticle isn't looking like a good thing, because I'm probably going to pick at it until it opens and starts to bleed. Anything but ted@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. You can tell me about how my perspective is not unique. You can tell me how my ability to exist on my own is an anomaly. You can tell me to stop talking so loudly, because sometimes when I talk a little more monotone, it's a little easier to understand. But when I talk a little bit more monotone, sometimes I get a little mush-mouthy, and I think my words start to blur together, and it becomes a little bit incoherent. Just like that episode of SpongeBob declares, if you want to be heard and sound smart, you must be loud. The louder you are, the smarter you seem. And then that's when Plankton goes, correct! So, it's true. Stop. So, yeah, anything but ted@gmail.com. You can tell me how I don't exist. You can tell me how my existence is a problem. Whatever. I don't care. I just leaned back, and I'm afraid that I'm going to start yawning like crazy, which, yeah, here it comes. I should really figure out how to get a full night's sleep and still not hate waking up or going to bed. I don't hate. I dislike. I unappreciate. So, I love this. I don't even have my phone open. I'm just sitting here. I haven't even fully decided what to talk about. This is going to be a what I watched. I'm pretty sure. This is a what I watched. You can check the title to make sure. I am doing a very, I don't really know how to go about this week, because I figure I can just, catch up and do what I did last week, which is a decent amount. I wish I counted these ahead of time. I wasn't paying attention. I think I counted that wrong. Anyway, like 15, 12, something like that. Over 10 movies, as per usual. Some of them I don't have anything to really say about or really want to say anything about. Others I'm hoping I have something to say about, but probably don't have anything to say about. Did I say that about the first one? And then things I might get hung up on for way too long. So, if you, I don't know. Hello. So I'm going to be talking about what I watched. I'm going to start with 1201 from 1993. I feel like I talked about this a little bit yesterday, being that it is the same director as Sketch Artist 2, The Hands at Sea. Not The Hands at Sea, just Hands at Sea. But yeah, I've been on a Jack Shoulder kick. It's Pride Month, and I'm using Pride Month as a way to explore Jack Shoulder's filmography, because Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is inherently a gay film, and I'm convinced that I can find gay themes in every single one of his films, be it prominent or not. Even the most dude-centric movies are still a little fruity. I shouldn't say it like that. That's fucked up. I think fruity is derogatory now. I don't know. That's what my parents used to say, which is probably a telltale sign that I shouldn't say it. If my parents said it, it probably means that it's out of date and wrong. But yeah, so Jack Shoulder is the director of 1201. It's another TV movie. This man loves to exist in the TV space. He probably doesn't love it. From what I read, he kind of just... from what I've read of his interview, which I mentioned on my previous episode, that he does not like... what the hell am I talking about? He has no intention of not making movies ever again. He just hasn't gotten offered. That was back in like 2020, and supposedly he still is teaching in North Carolina, which I would love to attend a class of his. I genuinely am interested in what he has to say and what he teaches specifically. Like, is it just a general filmmaking class? Is it special effects? Is it screenwriting? What is it, you know? I'm really interested in what he teaches at this school. And for, you know, being a man that is technically not retired, like, he made, 17 films, including a short or something like that. At least that he's credited for on Letterboxd. He's probably also, I never bothered to check, he probably did some TV. Let me go to IMDb real quick. Because that, God damn it, I hate you so much. This I do hate. Fuck the Google layout. What am I looking up? Jack Shoulder. Yes, let's see. Let's go to his IMDb, because genuinely, I don't know what he's made outside of the stuff he has on Letterboxd. And there's a good chance that he's done a lot more. He's got 60 credits on IMDb. Oh, shit. He did an episode of Tremors, back when Tremors had a TV show. I'm trying to find Beeper. I've located Arachnid. Supernova. Hold on. Or is there stuff... He's uncredited on a film called Supernova from the year 2000. Can I find that on Letterboxd? Supernova from the year 2000 is directed by a man named Walter Hill, who's the director of The Warriors. Are you sure, IMDb? Are you sure about that? Mortal Kombat Conquest, TV show, Runaway Car, Generation X, I know about those. Sketch Artist, Natural Selection, I know about those. Gabriel's Fire, I've never heard of. It's a TV show. He directed an episode of Tales from the Crypt. That's cool. What episode? Season 2, Episode 12, Fitting Punishment. That's cool. Renegades, I just watched last night. Great film. Vietnam War Story. He's the director of one episode. Wow. Where Are the Children? There's some stuff on here I'm going to have to check out. Like, he wrote Where Are the Children? And The Tattooed Hitman. I knew about The Garden Party. That's like a short adaptation that he made. He edited The Burning. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to get any more into this. Clearly, this guy is a lot more than what I thought he was, which I thought was just a fucking director that did like TV shit mostly. But no, he's out there. He's doing some good looking work, if you ask me. So, I'm talking about 1201, right? I kind of was just like on a Jack Shoulder rant for that entire time, but I'm talking about 1201. It's another TV movie, as he does, and I think this is the least gay of all of his films. I'm not going to get into it too much because I'm I'm pretty sure I talked a lot about 1201 on my previous episode, but I guess now let me actually talk through the actual film. 1201 is it's a time loop film. It's a time loop movie. It's a man gets stuck in a time loop and he has to figure out how to get out of it. I specifically said it's a Groundhog Day ripoff, but time loop in general is just kind of a thing. But yeah, it's a simple story. It's about this fella, played by a really great actor. What's his name? He's in a couple of other Jack Shoulder things too, which is interesting. Jonathan Silverman. He's a TV actor. Yeah, he's in Sketch Artist 2 and 1201. And he's great. He's a great actor. I wouldn't put him on Jeff Fahey levels, but he's definitely like, he kind of has like a Chandler Bing kind of vibe to him, where it's a lot of like defensive jib jabs at people. Very sarcastic kind of person, but only as like a reactionary. He himself is, very, kind-hearted and understanding or whatever other people traits that he has, but he's also what was I talking about? He's just a good actor. He has a solid performance. I forgot what his name was. Jonathan Silverman, maybe. It's a long name. There's a lot of letters, a lot of consonants in there. So what happens in the film? Like I said, it's a time loop film. It's basically Groundhog Day to an extent. But it's a TV film, so it's compressed down pretty heavily. And it's mostly it's not mostly. The entire film is this man trying to break the time loop and solve the mystery. And also stop this woman from getting killed. So you got this guy. He's admiring a woman from afar, too afraid to talk to her, afraid that talking to her is going to ruin the relationship that he has built up in his head. He talks to his sassy horny friend, and he's like, yeah, I like this woman, but I'm not going to go talk to her. And then he ends up at the lunch line and ends up talking to her. And he's like, wow, that was amazing. I really want to talk to her some more. So he goes to find her. I think she kicks him out of her office. And then the day is over and he's like, ah, shucks. Well, I got to talk to her once. That's pretty cool. I might try and talk to her again today or tomorrow. And then she gets assassinated. Just like out of nowhere. And it's a pretty big shock, honestly. Like the first time it happens, it was pretty crazy. Because, the whole film up to that point is really mundane. It all happens in like a 1990s office setting. People are just smoking cigarettes and doing paperwork, and that's kind of what you're watching. The guy gets reamed out by his boss because he's late, and, classic main character problems of like nobody's talking to him very nicely. Now this is a thing that I've picked up on in Jack Shoulder films, and I haven't read the script, and I don't think he wrote the script for 1201, but that shift in energy when that woman gets assassinated is really shocking. It's really crazy. Like watching. It's not overly bloody or like mega violent or anything. She just gets shot in the chest a couple of times and then falls over. But it's just such a shift in what we were watching that it had me completely unprepared. Because the whole time up until that point is just this guy wants to talk to this girl, and I'm like, what the hell is the time loop gonna be? Like, is it just him trying to get the girl? Like, is it just him trying to not get fired from his job? Like, be the perfect employee? Like, what is this time loop movie? Like, what's the objective of it? And then this woman just gets shot. Like, it may not be as random as I'm making it out to be, but I was surprised the first time. And, then he goes home. The main character is known for getting drunk. He is, he's not classed as like an alcoholic exactly, but he parties. He's young enough to where alcoholism isn't what he'd call it. It's just, he likes to go out and get drunk after work and party. That's how the film starts, and that's how the first day ends. He watches this woman get assassinated, and then he gets belligerently drunk, knocks over some shit in his house, and then goes to bed. Right before going to bed, though, he gets electrocuted by his lamp at 12:01 in the morning, which sets off some sort of chain reaction that traps him in a time loop. Technically speaking, it's not even trapped, but maybe I'll get to that. It is plot critical that he's technically not trapped. He's just kind of the only one who remembers repeating the day. Because that's the other thing, is unlike other time loop movies, I shouldn't say unlike. It's actually pretty common for time loop movies. Only one person remembers the time loop, and everyone else is just assuming it's a regular day. So now we know what the film is about, right? Like, he's not only trying to get the girl, he's trying to stop her from being assassinated. And then he realizes that stopping her from being assassinated isn't the thing that stops the time loop. That's just in the time loop. Like, she just happens to... The day that the time loop happens just happens to be the day that she gets assassinated. So that's just part of the day. And, he spends most of the film trying to convince her that he's a time traveler. And he's like, yeah, here's... And it has this really cheesy speech where it's supposed to be really touching, but, like, he just memorizes a bunch of things about her in, like, a short period of time. Like, after he convinces her that he's in a time loop, she's like, how will I know that you're telling the truth next time? He's like, tell me stuff that only you would know. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite number? What's your favorite food? And he turns it into, like, this gallon speech where he'll, like, she's like, who the hell are you? And he'll go, 37. Oysters. The color blue. Fly to heaven. And, to everyone else, including us, it sounds completely ridiculous, but it is genuinely for her some deep, dark knowledge that only people who know her would know. One of those, like, Drew Barrymore's 50 First Dates kind of things, where, although that one, it ends more like this, but so he's in a time loop. He is actively trying to learn how to convince this woman that he is in a time loop, while simultaneously also getting to know her enough to realize that he does actually like her. Like I failed to say earlier and cut myself off of, this is probably his least gay film I've seen so far. Presumably 12 Days of Terror is going to be way straighter than this, but who knows? There's going to be dudes in bathing suits in that, so we'll see. That one I'm saving for July 3rd, though. I'm going to double feature it with some porn that I'm really excited to go see. What was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about Jack Shoulder and how his inclusion of the film is probably why there's such a shocking shift in intensity when that woman gets shot, because he's just really good at making death look brutal, and he's really mean about it too, like, because the repeat days are kind of comical. I mean, he doesn't go through that many repeats. That's the one thing that's a little weird. And I think it's a TV movie constraint. Because they couldn't have him bust out 40, 50 time loops trying to figure things out. So they let you follow along without any major time skips, and you go through about 3, maybe 4 loops. Like, it's really not that much. It's about he spends as much time in the movie as we do. And not she. Yeah, I mean, I love how I'm trying to go into heavy detail, but then I'm also trying to, like, loosely summarize it, because I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. I mean, technically not even spoiling anything, because the spoiler would be the ending, because the assassination happens. That's the setup, right? That's just you going like, yeah, this woman got assassinated, and this guy is stuck in a time loop, and he needs to figure the fuck out. That's like, none of that actually has anything to do with anything. It's just, that's part of his day. But he memorizes the day, he creates a schedule, he eventually perfects the day and shows up everyone who he doesn't like in the process. He tells his boss off. Something interesting that his boss keeps calling him cute and refers to that as like a reason he hasn't been fired yet. And I wonder if harassment from a workplace colleague or superior is something that has happened in the writer's life, because it's a very prominent part of the film. It's repeated 3 or 4 times, and it's one of the things he feels accomplishment for perfecting. So overcoming that bitch ass woman who has a weird way of like harassing him verbally, it's just it's a satisfying moment. God damn. All right. Yeah, so he eventually stops the time loop. It's kind of like that portal machine from Into the Spider-Verse. If you remember that, it's a similar room to that. Yeah, it's a solid film though. Like many TV movies, it's not deeply action based. It's not the most emotional film you'll ever experience, but it was solid. It was shot well. Which actually, let me see the cinematographer on this, because sometimes a TV cinematographer is a big deal. Original writer is Richard Lupoff. I should see if he has a book of this. Cinematographer. Oh, he was a cinematographer for a couple other shoulder film, or one other shoulder film, the Runaway Car, which I believe is another TV movie. I don't know what Zappa... I mean, I know who Zappa is, and I'm assuming it's about the guy, but I don't know nothing about it. Oh, he did the Ben 10 movie. I didn't even know that was a thing, a live-action Ben 10 movie. Jesus Christ. That's horrible. Yeah, he breaks the time loop. He solves the mystery. There's a really cool explosion at the end, which totally raised my score a half a star. I mean, I was giving it a 3.5, and this explosion made it a 4. Like, it genuinely was a great moment, and there's so little special effects in this film that when there are special effects, they're done really well, and they don't feel cheap really at all. Even if they are obviously effects, they're still done really well. I really enjoy that explosion. I really enjoy the assassination attempts. It's all really cool. So, now that I spent 25 minutes talking about 1201, I don't know, let's talk about, oh God. Let's talk about Critters? Is that really what I'm doing next? Critters? Fuck it. Yeah, let's talk about Critters. I'm not going to talk about any of them in specifics. Well, I mean, I watched 4 Critter films this weekend. The first 4, mostly because I wanted to watch 2, but then I saw 3 had Leonardo DiCaprio, and 4 went to space. So I couldn't just not watch all 4. But I really watched it only because Mick Garris directed Critters 2. And I'm a big Mick Garris fan. He is the director of Stephen King's The Stand, Stephen King's The Shining. He is a really good writer. I've read a couple of his books. I like him. He has a good personality. He writes well. I like how poetic he gets with things. I like how his perspective is on things. I like that he's able to examine Hollywood life in a very mundane kind of fashion. Anyway, I'm not even talking about that right away. Critters I didn't really watch it for a while because I assumed it was a Gremlins ripoff, and Gremlins is a Christmas movie, which I haven't seen yet. And I figured I might as well watch Gremlins first. And then I realized that I don't want to wait until Christmas, and I was supposed to watch it last Christmas, but I didn't remember to. So I watched the Critters collection. I found a 4-pack at the library, which was very nice. And I just watched them. It was kind of all in like a 24-hour period. I didn't mean to do it that way. I actually wanted to sparse it out throughout the week, but every time I went to put something in my Xbox or pop something on, I was like, I think I want to continue watching Critters. There's something about having library movies that makes me more motivated to watch those as a priority. And that's cool. Because I got to watch, I might talk about it after the Critters thing. We'll see. But yeah, let's, maybe I'll try and talk about all 4. Because they all kind of bleed together. They're all pretty continuous, to be perfectly honest. The first one is probably the one I remember the least, unfortunately. It stars Scott Grimes, who is also in the second one. And it's funny, I was told recently that Scott Grimes was in the Critters movies, and that's probably the most recent thing I knew about Critters before I watched it. But I didn't process who it was because the kid was so damn young, I didn't realize. But Scott Grimes is the father in the new Ted TV show. The Seth MacFarlane show that's like a prequel to the Ted movies. I don't like the Ted movies, but I love the Ted TV show. And I think Scott Grimes is absolutely hilarious. And I just, for some reason, I didn't process how young the guy would be. But the dude was like 14 in this film, 13. He was really young. And he's just playing the foul-mouthed pseudo-terrorist child. Because that's what really caught my eye with this film, is that what's the kid's name that Scott Grimes plays? Brad. Brad is basically a terrorist in training. The dude is making pipe bombs and homemade firecrackers in his bedroom using shotgun shells and loose gunpowder. And, like, he's really playing with some dangerous shit. And, like I said, the kid is tiny. Like, he's not an infant, he's not a toddler, but he's a tiny person. He should not be messing around with explosives. And they call it a firecracker, but that's a fucking pipe bomb, dude. That you can't make a firecracker that big and not call it a pipe bomb, especially with it inside what I'm pretty sure is a PVC pipe. It's gonna be pretty violent of an explosion. But this kid is just existing. He's people don't really like him. His family kind of treats him shittily. But I mean, he is a piece of shit to an extent. He's just like a kid who likes to be a little rude and foul-mouthed, and he likes to blow shit up. And then critters come along, and he has to save the day. It's pretty standard stuff. Like I said, I assumed that Critters was a Gremlins ripoff, but I think it's more of just buying into the genre instead of ripping it off. Because the rules and the setup are presumably pretty different. I know they're like, don't get them wet and don't feed them after midnight, and like I said, it's a Christmas themed film, so there's that going on with it. So I wondered if that was like a thing. Whatever I'm talking about. But yeah, Critters, it seems to be its own thing. I mean, you can't watch it without thinking about Gremlins, I suppose, but like, anyway, I can't speak about something I haven't seen, so I'm not going to. These don't start off cute. They are malicious from the get. I shouldn't say within the first blank, because that's the other thing about this first film, is they all kind of take forever to start. Because we're all here to watch the critters, and the first film, critters don't even actually do anything until pretty far into the film. I want to say like a third or halfway through. Like, they wait a pretty decent amount of time to actually even show the critter, let alone like them doing anything. But once the critters are there, things get going pretty crazy. There's like, I think there's more than one in the first. Yeah, right. The first one is kind of like Lilo and Stitch, in the sense that these critters are escaped prisoners, essentially, from a space prison that sent bounty hunters to Earth to track down the critters. There's like 6 critters on the run, or 8 or something like that. And sorry, I'm just realizing, am I talking about the right movies right now? Yes I am. It's just that fucking weird of a movie. Okay. I might have liked Critters more than I thought, now that I'm thinking about it, because I just realized that the plot is what I'm describing. These bounty hunters get sent to Earth, and they are shapeshifters who are there to destroy and recapture the critters. And they are really interesting, because they have this, like, they're looking for their true form, but until then they're like a pile of clay. And once you find your true form, you're able to not have to revert back to your basic form. And it's a little weird, because the first one, he gets on the first try. His true form is a fucking like 80s hair metal singer. So I mean, I guess that's lucky. But then the second bounty hunter is like body swapping. And what he'll do is he'll walk up to somebody, look them in the eyes, and like steal their features. I think, yeah, you can still be alive and be copied. This isn't like The Hidden, where people were like being injected with a giant slug monster that kills you on contact. This is more of a copycat kind of thing. They see you and they copy you. I wish I remembered the shapeshifters from Dune, because that's kind of what they're doing. God damn it. I hate that I can't remember. Let me just do a quick Google. Shapeshifters, Dune. I'm pretty sure they're face dancers, yeah. Genetically engineered humans that can change shape, yeah. So yeah, they are walking around Earth. They're trying to hunt down these critters, and they meet up with Scott Grimes, Brad, the local terrorist, and they start helping each other find the critters. They end up, I don't know if they ever capture any, but they definitely blow them up. When they die, they explode into like a goo, which is really fun. Although the critters are probably where like people would get the most joy out of watching, I think the bounty hunters are like the best part of the first one, which is a shame. The thing about the Critters movies is they're kind of barely about the critters. They just kind of happen around the critters. So like this first movie is the bounty hunters looking for the escaped one, like the escaped critters, and hunting them down. And I'm pretty sure they succeed for the most part. But the film ends on a cliffhanger that like, they left eggs, and now there's a sequel afoot. But most of the horror comes from the bounty hunters, because their shape-shifting is really intense, at least in the first one. The first one has really intense visuals when it comes to their shape-shifting. They kind of like tone it down a bit and turn it into just kind of like a digital effect in the sequels. But in this first one, they like when the first guy copies the hair metal singer, he turns into like a gelatinous mess, and then a skull like forms in the mess, and it's kind of like Hellraiser. It builds the body from the inside out, and you see it all happen. There's a cool reverse shot, not reverse shot, like a filmed in reverse, or because reverse shot is when you're like looking at someone in the face walking forward, right? This, I mean, like the shot was like reversed. But yeah, there's like a face reverse melting, and it's a really cool scene. It's really nice, very disturbing. And then from then on, like every time that the second guy changes his shape, it's just really gross. There's like neck pulsating effects and just really cool prosthetics that these guys had on to make themselves do what they're doing. But yeah, the first one ends with a cliffhanger of like, there's eggs. Got a sequel coming. So I guess let's move on to the second one. I'm trying to compress all these four into like one single segment. I'm probably not going to be able to do anything after the Critters, but let's see. We'll see. So Critters 2, the one that I'm here for, directed by Mick... hold on. Because this doesn't happen in the future Critters films. Critters 1. The Critters do a thing, right? So like, they're man-eating, tiny little fellas, right? They're scary, they're mean, and they're foul-mouthed. They curse in their own language, because that's funny. So that's a thing, but they also... And they never explain it, which is why I think they could have expanded on it really well. Like, Mick Garris could have done some really cool work with it in Critters 2, but it never comes back. But these critters, it's either when they consume blood or commit mayhem of some sort, they get bigger. Like, they physically get bigger. And there's one in the second one that is physically bigger, but I think it's more of an age thing than it is like a mayhem thing. Or maybe it's like a different class or something. But in this first one, the risk is that if you don't get rid of them soon enough, they will be so big that you won't be able to stop them. And I think that's a really cool, really scary idea that is just completely abandoned for the rest of the series. So yeah, that's just the last thing I wanted to throw in about Critters 1, because, like I said, it doesn't show up in Critters 2, 3, or 4, and it would have made those movies better. Genuinely. Imagine if Critters 2 had a giant critter ball. I don't know. But yeah, so Critters 2, directed by Mick Garris, the reason I'm watching these films. And he makes it into a lot more of a comedy. Mick Garris is very good at cartoonish horror. He's very much in like the EC Comics kind of stage where it's not about the actual thing that makes it scary, it's about the thing that happens that makes it scary. So like in this film, it's an Easter film, and 90% of the fear is, oh shit, these people think that critters' eggs are Easter eggs, and they're just being thrown into the Easter egg hunt, and kids are going to have them in their hands. And there's way more eggs than there were critters in the first one, so it's, up the ante with the numbers too. But why do I do that? But this film, Critters 2, they're all kind of horror comedies, but this is definitely the funniest of the four. Because it's all, and again, critters don't really show up for a while. It's just a lot of like, ooh, they're coming. They're right around the corner. They're building up. And you see them, but they don't become a problem for a while. This is the entry where I was really able to feel the Mick Garris-ness of like how things were made. Because maybe it's just because I have an insight on how he thinks about how he makes movies, but some scenes, like most notably when a bunch of critters are rolling down a hill trying to chase after a truck that the main characters are driving, they're very obviously just kickballs that are taped with a bunch of fur and they're being rolled down a hill. And I think it's just great. I think it looks really good. It doesn't actually look good. It's not like a good... It's good in the way that, like, it's clever, it's cheap, and it saves budget for when you need the budget, which being that there's a giant critter ball in this film, it's very beneficial to have some extra budget rolling around. So when... Like, I could only imagine there's like 3 or 4 people in that scene just rolling the balls down the hill. And I think the funniest part about it is that they're supposed to be following the truck, but you can't make a ball follow the truck, so it just rolls to the bottom of the hill and stops rolling. And I'm pretty sure they were supposed to cut before they showed like the ground where the critters' balls kind of just stopped rolling. But you get a little glimpse of it. I think it's really great. This is a lot more comedy. It's a lot more of like, the critters are really not the main character. The main character is Scott Grimes and the eggs. Scott Grimes is teaming back up with the bounty hunters because they imply he's like mentally disabled in the first one, but I think he just ends up being an alcoholic. But this guy finds purpose in the first one by joining the bounty hunters. He becomes an international bounty hunter. And he comes back to Earth to say hi to Scott Grimes. And he's like, oh my god, my buddy. And like, yeah, well, guess what? There's still critters crittering around. So we kind of have to, do something about that. And so they all team up. They become friends again. Like there's the old friends. And then Scott Grimes makes friends with the alien bounty hunters as well. The shapeshifters. And this is where Mick Garris loves his silly jokes. He loves to add some silliness to his horror. And as I mentioned, one of the bounty hunters still hasn't found his true form yet. So he's just kicking around, he just keeps shapeshifting into everybody he sees and hopes that it's the right person. And I don't know where they happen upon it, but he sees a Playboy and opens it up to the centerfold and turns into the centerfold. So now we have a quick little gender swap And they actually hire the Playboy actress, like the woman who was in the centerfold. I'm pretty sure that's actually her, which is really interesting. That like, I don't even know. Like it's like, how do you get there? How do you go, like, it would be hilarious if we got, I don't want to call Playboy Bunny a porn star or a sex worker, because I think there's a line between that, but only a thin line. But yeah, like that whole idea of like, let's just like get this naked woman that's comfortable being naked on screen, and we'll put her in the movie. And everyone loved it. They probably loved it. I think it was funny. It was a good bit. And it really worked to its advantage. And it was good. It wasn't good in the sense that like it made the film really good, but like the alcoholic dude who became a bounty hunter is really horny and wants to keep looking at this shape-shifted person turned into the Playboy Bunny. The shapeshifter decides that she is not his best form, but this one guy just refuses to let it be. So every time he goes to change shapes, he's like, no, wait, do the Playboy again. It, it just adds some nudity, some women nudity, and, she goes full Lady Terminator for a few minutes, which is cool, because the bounty hunters have guns. It's not like they're just people. Like, they have guns, and they have intelligence, and they know what they're looking for. And then it's just a woman this time. Her breasts are so big that his armor breaks, and he has little holes in his armor now. I'm still saying he because, not any real because. It's just more or less because she's, only the temporary form. It's like if I watch The Hidden and decide to call that person a he the entire time. Even though it's probably more of an it. But that's besides the point. So, yeah, there's that going on. It's a lot more funny. The whole film is leading up to a town, which actually, yeah, let's talk about the town, because I don't even know how I mean it by that, but like in the credits, it is specifically stated, thank you for the town of, and I can't remember the town, but they genuinely hired an entire town's worth of people. I mean, not only to make the film in the town that they're in, but actually like they were in the film. And when I was watching it, I noticed, like, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people in this shot, and it's a very intentionally wide shot of a lot of people. For such a low budget film, like, it's surprising to see that many people on screen at once doing a thing. But it turns out that the townspeople were like gratefully, working with them, because it's probably really exciting to have a movie made in your hometown, and then to be able to contribute to it in some really cool way. In this sense, it was the town was leading a angry mob. But before that, the whole film leading up to the big outbreak, which I'm pretty sure is only like the last 30 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, because there's a false ending and then there's a real ending. But until that happens, it's just kind of like, uh-oh, critter eggs. We know what they are because we've seen the film before, but these people don't know because they don't know what critter eggs look like. So they're painting them and hiding them like Easter egg hunts, and they're just doing their thing, and then they hatch because warmth activates them. It makes them hatch. Not unheard of when it comes to eggs, but it being an Easter film, They really, really want to sell you on the fact that it's an Easter film, which is cool. Like, I might go back to it for Easter next year, but we'll see. Once the critters actually, like, outbreak, it definitely shifts a little bit because, like I said, they abandoned the giant critter thing. Like, there's no eat or destroy so much that they get bigger. They just stay the same size, and they form a giant critter ball. They, like, lock arms and turn into a big ball, and they just roll around and attack people that way. And I'm really glad that Mick Garris is the one to have debuted that, because the third one's not very good. So, the whole plot is after the town realizes that these critters are about, they form a mob and they kind of come up with a plan. And the plan is to, because they realize there's a whole scene where they, like, are just demolishing a fast food restaurant and just eating cheeseburgers and ketchup and mustard and shit. And, like, really, the grossest parts of the film are not the most violent. They're just the critters being critters and doing critter things. One of which is raiding a giant restaurant full of burgers and stuff, and they make a big icky mess. So, the townspeople come up with a plan that, like, hey, what if we lure them into the hamburger plant or whatever? It's like some storage facility where there's large amounts of hamburger and other food items and such. And that's really how, like, the setup of the end of the film goes, is they try and trap the critters, because at this point there's, like, an army of them. They trap them in this building and blow it the fuck up. But they all survive somehow and form into a giant critter ball that starts just rolling around, demolishing shit. And, you know, it was definitely, like, a false ending. It was very, like, they had the relieving music and everyone was, like, hugging, like, oh, we did it. And then the door busts open and there's just a giant critter ball there, and it just everything happens. But right, like, when that's happening, that's when the big scene with the town wide shot is like when they're luring the critters to the warehouse. Part of the plot is that they are sneaking up behind the critters, but not too close to where they can smell them, because they will eat humans as well. But the wind shifts and they end up getting put upwind from them, so they smell the humans, but the critters are like, we like cheeseburgers more than humans. So they turn around anyway and go eat the cheeseburgers, and yeah, it's a fine film. It's rewatchable, and seeing Scott Grimes in it again is still really good. I genuinely like him as a kid actor. It's a shame that, like, I always feel bad that kid actors exist, but at least he's a good one, I guess. I wonder if there's anything else he was in as a kid, or if it was just that, and then Seth MacFarlane saw him in that and was like, yeah, let's get him in my TV show. Critters 3 is kind of the Evil Dead rise of the Critters movies. The film kind of gives you, like, a recap of the end of the first one, or the second one. Actually, is it the first one? I'm not sure. Maybe it's the second one that opens with a recap. They all kind of, like, overlap with each other. They're kind of direct sequels, all of them. So, Critters 3, personally, my least favorite one. It is considered Leonardo DiCaprio's first starring role, or something like that, in a film, first feature film, I don't really know. He's like 17, I think I mathed it out to be. He's like 17 years old in this film. And, he plays the stepson of a landlord. As I just said a second ago, this is kind of like the Evil Dead rise of the Critters movies, essentially meaning they just put it in an apartment building. Kind of like how the fourth entry is they just put them in space. But This one has critters show up a lot sooner, but they also don't do anything interesting throughout the film. There's like, I think they do the critter ball again at some point, but it's really lackluster. The probably the best scene with the critters is where Leonardo DiCaprio is fighting with his stepfather, and his stepfather's like, "Well, stop whining," or whatever, and he goes, "I hate you. I wish you were dead." And then he goes into a different room and then immediately gets murdered by the critters in like a horrible fashion. Good moment, solid moment. It was probably the funniest bit in the film. I'm not going to stick on this one for too long because just saying it's critters in an apartment building is kind of all you need. And Leonardo DiCaprio really didn't sell me too much. This was my least favorite critters out of all of them. But Critters 3, it has some decent stuff. Since it's in the apartment building, it has the space to move around, but the claustrophobia of narrow hallways. It's probably really cheap to make. That's probably one of the reasons it was made. It's probably one of the reasons that the fourth one is made the way it is as well. But yeah, it's kind of, Critters is happening in an apartment building, and Leonardo DiCaprio is trying to bang one of the victims. Because that's kind of all he's there for, is to complain as the landlord's son and be infatuated with this teen girl. And that's kind of the movie. It's really, it really is my least favorite. Yeah, there really wasn't much to it. It didn't catch my eye in really any way. Critters 4, though, not my favorite, but a huge step up from 3. I've seen reviews, including some people I follow, that specifically say that Critters 4 is a film that was forced to be a Critters sequel, kind of like the Hellraiser films, where it was just like, reskin this to be a property that we have a sequel for, and you can make it. So, like, the fourth one, no one in it is really, like, I don't really know any of, like, I don't know the director. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to load up his page right now, but I don't know the director. I know that the guy who plays Leo from Twin Peaks is in this, which is weird. Especially since he's not doing any Twin Peaksy stuff. Yeah, the guy who directed this is the producer of the first one. 1, 3, and 4. Shame. And 5, because there is a fifth one that came out in 2019 that I didn't watch because I didn't feel like it, and it wasn't in the collection. But yeah, Critters 4 is literally just critters in space, which, that's where the first film started. The first film started in space. So it's just, doing a round robin, like, what if critters return to space? So, how the third one ends is with the same human bounty hunter guy from the first film, the alcoholic friend of Scott Grimes. He is tasked with returning remaining critters' eggs to the alien species. So they send down like a delivery pod that he loads up and gets stuck in. And then he and the eggs are launched into space to go find their way back to where they're supposed to be. They even do like a repeat shot of how the film ends. Like the whole first scene is the ending is actually like the closing, like, credit sting of the third one. Like, it wasn't even the official ending of the film. It was the sting ending at the, like, post-credit sequence. So, you get a repeat shot of the moon and the planet of Earth, just kind of like chilling in space. Except I'm pretty sure they didn't do it in the third Critters, but in the fourth one, you see the pod that was launched into space. I don't remember seeing the pod at the end of 3, but you see the pod get launched into space. It's repeating the exact same shots as the previous one. And then the pod makes its way to the wrong ship. A ship full of humans, I believe. And that's kind of genuinely it for Critters 4. It's it's not a Critters movie. It's kind of like an Alien ripoff. Like the way it's structured, shot, and designed, it basically is Alien, the 1979 Alien film. Because what I wrote in my review is Dan O'Bannon very much watched 2001 and liked it so much that he decided to make a movie called Dark Star. And then Dark Star wasn't very good, in my opinion. So he rehashed it and made Alien. And now, Critters 4, the director very much watched Alien and said, we can make one of these. Why not? Why not make one of these? And they did. They made it. It's oddly like the longest Critters movie, but I think that's mostly because of the overlap of credit sequence, or of the previous film. But yeah, it's basically Alien. It does very similar shots to Alien. I think my favorite part that makes me feel like it's Alien is the fact that the rooms are just designed so particularly. Like, I've never seen a white room with green AstroTurf, like, running up angles and seats and stuff. Like, it's a very bizarre looking ship. And the way it's shot just feels so much like Alien. Actually, let me check the cinematographer. Oh, I've actually already checked this before. It's the cinematographer for Slumber Party 2, Slumber Party Massacre 2, and Feast, which are great films. Yeah, the set design is cool. It's really simple. It's that kind of like clinically clean kind of spaceships. It's not like Dark Star where it's really grimy looking and sweaty. It's very much just like clean, white, and empty. It's funny, the further I got into the series, the more I realized that I don't really want to talk about these anymore. I'm kind of, not bored, but I don't have much to say past like that. 2 is really the most I had to say about them, and the changes between 1 and 2. I do really like the alien-ishness of the fourth one. I think it makes it better. And 3 is just outright not that great. Definitely the worst of the 4, and I probably won't ever watch it again. I might just watch 1 and 2 from here on. 4 I might come back to just because I'm curious. I kind of zoned out on the ending. I don't know how much I didn't catch, but I have a feeling it's enough to where I can warrant a rewatch and possibly reevaluate my opinions. So I don't want to say that's it, because I could technically fit in another film. I don't know if I want to, though. Yeah, I'm going to skip it. I'm going to hold on to it, because I really, really want to do a Jack Shoulder episode, like, about his entire filmography. Maybe I can do something with David Lynch, because I did watch a David Lynch movie recently. Silence of the Lambs, I could just yammer on for hours about absolutely nothing with it. And Cronenberg, I'd like to watch one or two more Cronenberg films before I discuss any of the things I've watched from him. So yeah, I guess we'll stop it with the 4 Critters films. And what did I talk about first? 1201. Funny, I just said I didn't want to talk about Jack Shoulder, but the first film I talked about was Jack Shoulder. I've just been watching a lot of them this month. I think I have watched 7 of his films this month, and if things go well, I might have 9 by the end of the night. I probably won't. At best, I'll probably have 8, because I'm pretty sure I'll be able to fit in at least one of his films, because he has a lot more TV movies, and they're not all super long. So that, I can rip through them pretty quickly. The only one I'm specifically not watching is 12 Days of Terror, because I want to wait until 4th of July weekend. And maybe I'll watch Jaws that Sunday, too. We'll see. But I want to watch 12 Days of Terror right before I go out on Saturday or Friday night. Because then I'm going to a theater to see a film that is also 4th of July related. So yeah, anything but ted@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. I don't necessarily know exactly why you would, but, I like the option. I like the idea of, if anybody has anything to say, you can do it. I don't really use social media that much. I have an Instagram that I use, on the daily, but mostly just, as a thing that I don't want to do, but I end up doing anyway, because I've been trying to get away from scrolling, and having Instagram does not help with that. But I cut down all my social medias down to just the one app, and, technically doing less of it, I guess. But if you are to want to contact me, it's really only through here, like through my email. I probably won't accept a private message on Instagram, and I'll reply to you on a comment in Letterboxd, because I spend too much time on Letterboxd. So, that's where you can probably find me the most consistently. An email I might push off replying on, but Letterboxd I will absolutely just be like, yeah, words and things. I'll probably reply way quicker than you want me to. So yeah, anything but ted@gmail.com if you want to reach out and tell me about it or whatever you want to do. I'm going to close it out, though. This is, it was actually a way better episode than I thought it would be, but I still, I don't want to say I'm like missing things, but I think I'm having some life-changing events coming up soon, and I think I'm going to have to shift to 1 episode a week just out of necessity. It might be good, though. It might make it so that these episodes are a little bit more thought out and a little less chaotic, which clearly I've been dying to do. I keep talking about structure and consistency, and I don't do it, but I keep talking about it. Maybe having it 1 episode a week will help with that. We'll see. I don't know if I'm doing that just yet. I'm going to see how this week goes, because I think this week is where I decide if I want to cut it down or amp it up. So, you've been listening to Taste Like Tea, a podcast about me. Me am I am he is tea.